What the hell are you doing here? Liam Everett's voice rang through the vast penthouse, breaking the silence of the late night. His sharp words echoed off the marble floors, shaking the stillness of his $30 million empire. Amelia Dawson, 26, looked up from her stack of textbooks, her flashlight flickering as it illuminated the pages of advanced calculus. She sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by the cleaning supplies she had already finished using for the night. For 6 months, Amelia had been cleaning Liam's lavish home, but tonight, she had taken a moment for herself. She wasn't just a cleaner. She had a bigger dream. Mr. Everett, Amelia replied calmly, her voice steady and controlled. I'm done cleaning. I just wanted to take a moment to study before heading home. Liam's gaze flickered down at her, his face twisting in contempt. He had always seen her as just another employee, someone who didn't belong in his world. But what he saw now, a cleaning lady sitting there with textbooks scattered around her like an intellectual, made something stir in his chest. Her presence irked him, but it was her calmness that unsettled him the most. As he descended the grand marble stairs in his silk pajamas, he towered over her, attempting to intimidate her. At 42, Liam had built his empire in real estate by using ruthless tactics, bulldozing anyone who didn't know their place. And Amelia, sitting on the floor, was a reminder of everything he hated about people who had no ambition beyond their station. Study, he scoffed, raising an eyebrow. Do you have any idea where you are? This is my home, not some public library. Amelia closed the book slowly, as though the sharpness in his tone was nothing more than background noise. Her movements were deliberate and calm, like someone who had weathered much worse storms and survived. Mr. Everett, she said, a faint smile playing at the corner of her lips. I finished all the work. The house is spotless, just like I always leave it. Her words didn't sit well with Liam, especially since he had never taken the time to even notice her routine or how perfectly she worked. In his eyes, Amelia was supposed to come, clean, and disappear, nothing more. The notion of her being more than what she appeared was inconceivable to him. Listen carefully, he continued, leaning in, towering over her with a condescending tone. People like you have a place in society and it's not here, it's pathetic. For a fleeting moment, Amelia's eyes met his, and Liam saw something that made him take a hesitant step back. It wasn't anger, it was a quiet, almost terrifying certainty. She wasn't afraid. And that made him pause. People like me, she repeated, savoring each word. Interesting perspective, Mr. Everett. What Liam didn't know was that Amelia had been quietly observing him for 6 months. She had listened to business conversations, noticed documents left on desks, and attended meetings where deals were struck in ways that smelled of corruption. Things that an arrogant millionaire like Liam never imagined a cleaning lady would notice, much less comprehend. But Amelia, with her sharp mind and keen attention to detail, had taken careful note of everything. She was no mere cleaner. You're fired, Liam declared, his voice cold, dismissive. Get your things and leave. Don't even think about asking. For a reference, Amelia stood up unhurriedly, gathering her books and placing them neatly in her bag. She moved with the grace of someone who had seen much worse and had come through it all. As she reached the door, she turned to face him with the same enigmatic smile. Mr. Everett, she said, her voice low but clear. Have you ever heard the saying about not underestimating those who are always watching? The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken implications. She wasn't just a cleaning lady. She was someone who had spent months collecting information that Liam would never have expected, and now she was leaving with not only her books but 6 months of meticulously gathered evidence about a man who had just made the biggest mistake of his life. The next morning, Liam woke with a sense of unease, an irritation he couldn't explain. The events from the previous night had been replaying in his mind, not because of the cleaning lady's insolence, but because of her calm demeanor, that unsettling look she had given him. It was as if she knew something he didn't. Ridiculous, he muttered, adjusting his perfectly pressed tie. How could a cleaning lady possibly intimidate me? But as he made his way to the office, his personal assistant Erica arrived with some troubling news. Mr. Everett, she said, her voice laced with concern. The cleaning company called. They want to know why Amelia Dawson was fired. She was apparently their highest-rated employee. Liam smirked. She didn't know her place. I found her studying in my home as if it were a public library. Unacceptable. Erica hesitated before speaking again. What kind of material was she studying, sir? I don't care if it was a gossip magazine or a manual on how to clean better, Liam snapped. Domestic employees don't study in their employers' homes. End of story. What Liam didn't know was that while he fumed in his luxurious office, Amelia was doing something much more dangerous. She wasn't sitting idly, wallowing in her dismissal. No, Amelia was at the small public library, organizing 6 months of information she had carefully collected about Liam's business dealings. What he had failed to realize was that Amelia wasn't just a cleaner, she was an economics graduate, summa cum laude, who had spent years learning how to recognize and decode financial manipulation and fraud. For Amelia, getting a job as a cleaner had been a strategic move. She hadn't just stumbled into the position. She had studied Liam's habits, learned his routines, and found the perfect opportunity to gather information. Her degree, tucked away in a drawer at home, had been earned while working 3 jobs to support herself. And when her attempts to break into the financial world had failed, she had decided to go undercover. Working as a cleaner at one of the most corrupt men's homes was her backdoor into the world of power, wealth, and deceit. She had started her job early, knowing Liam's schedule and the times when important documents would be left carelessly around the house. Land deals, bribery agreements, and price manipulations. Amelia had documented everything, collecting evidence with the precision of a seasoned investigator. Now, with her old laptop open in front of her at the library, she began organizing the most explosive dossier the city's high society had ever seen. The days following Amelia's dismissal were spent in relative silence as she continued her meticulous work in the public library, organizing the files she had gathered from Liam Everett's penthouse. While Liam reveled in his daily luxuries, unaware of the storm brewing, Amelia was preparing for the most calculated revenge anyone could imagine. She wasn't just going to expose him, she was going to destroy everything he had built. The information Amelia had gathered over the past 6 months was nothing short of explosive. Fraudulent contracts, insider trading schemes, bribery agreements disguised as consulting fees, and text messages coordinating price manipulations. Every piece of evidence was carefully documented and filed away in a way that only someone with a thorough understanding of economics could organize. Amelia's academic background had given her the tools to not only understand these illegal activities but to also craft a strategy that would lead to Liam's inevitable downfall. At the same time, Liam continued to live his life as if he were invincible. He held business meetings in his penthouse, boasting about his wealth, and laughed at the idea of being taken down by a cleaning lady. It was this arrogance that blinded him to the danger lurking right under his nose. One evening, while attending an exclusive gala at a high-end downtown hotel, Liam was approached by one of his longtime partners, Greg Archer. "Liam," Greg began, his face tight with concern. "There's a report I've seen. Rumors are circulating about your dealings. It's getting hard to cover it up." Liam dismissed it with a wave of his hand, his arrogance at an all-time high. "Let them talk. The more they talk, the more my name is on their lips. Let them try to bring me down. Nothing can touch me. My empire is built on a foundation that can't be shaken." But in that very moment, Amelia had made her first crucial move. She had contacted Marcus Davis, a young investigative journalist who had been digging into the city's elite for years. Marcus, who had heard about Liam's shady dealings, had long suspected that he was up to something corrupt. Amelia knew that Marcus's access to the media would help amplify the evidence she had gathered. The following morning, Marcus arrived. At the public library where Amelia was working, she had spent the night finalizing the last pieces of evidence. As he sat down at the table, Amelia opened her binder to reveal the shocking collection of documents she had spent months compiling. "How much of this do you think we can use?" Marcus asked, his eyes wide as he flipped through the pages. "Every single piece," Amelia replied, her voice calm but filled with conviction. "With your help, we can expose him completely. It's not just about the corruption, it's about showing the world that those who think they are untouchable are the most vulnerable." Marcus nodded, his expression turning serious as he studied the documents. "This is bigger than I thought. We'll need a solid strategy, but with all this we could bring down not just Everett but the entire network of corrupt businessmen he's connected to." Meanwhile, Liam's arrogance continued to cloud his judgment. He spent his days bragging about his power and success, oblivious to the growing storm surrounding him. His meetings with investors, business partners, and corrupt officials continued, but Amelia's evidence had already reached the right hands. Every move Liam made was now being watched, and every deal he struck was being documented. It wasn't until the following week that Liam made the first of many catastrophic mistakes. He arranged a meeting with a group of investors in his penthouse, where, unbeknownst to him, a hidden camera caught every word he spoke. As he negotiated bribes in exchange for insider information on a public housing project, he was being recorded, sealing his fate. "Do you understand what this means?" Marcus asked, watching the footage with Amelia. "This isn't just a few shady deals. This is a full-scale conspiracy, and we've got it all recorded, documented, and ready to be exposed." Amelia's heart raced with excitement, but she remained focused. "We wait for the right moment," she said. "It has to be precise. The moment people realize the truth, his empire will crumble." Over the next few days, Amelia and Marcus worked tirelessly. They compiled the footage, cross-referenced the financial records, and verified every transaction. It wasn't just about exposing Liam's corruption. It was about showing the world how deeply entrenched he was in the city's criminal network. Then, the moment came. Amelia had planned everything down to the last detail. The story was ready. The evidence was irrefutable. Marcus was ready to publish. The night before the report was set to go live, Amelia received a message from her younger sister Sophie, asking if she had found another job yet. The family had been struggling since Amelia was let go, but Amelia had promised Sophie that things would get better. She had put her faith in the plan she had carefully laid out, and now it was about to pay off. "Tell Mom not to worry," Amelia typed back. "The situation is about to change for all of us." The following Monday morning, Amelia sat at a cafe, her phone vibrating incessantly with notifications as the news broke. Liam Everett's empire was crumbling, and the world was finally learning the truth about how he had built his wealth on a foundation of greed, corruption, and manipulation. "Millionaire empire built on bribes and fraud," the headline read, accompanied by a picture of Liam offering a bribe in his own penthouse. Beneath it, the caption read, "Evidence provided by an anonymous source with privileged access to the businessman's residence for months." Liam's face went pale as he read the article. His hands trembled as he turned the pages of the newspaper, the weight of his crimes crashing down on him. He had underestimated Amelia. He had thought her to be nothing more than a cleaning lady, someone who didn't belong in his world. But she had played him, and now his world was falling apart. Hours later, Liam received a call from his lawyer. "Liam, the IRS is already here. You need to turn yourself in before they issue an arrest warrant." Liam tried to deny it, tried to fight it, but his entire empire was collapsing in front of his eyes. The investors were pulling out, the government was investigating, and his former partners were distancing themselves from him. It wasn't long before the authorities began to seize his assets, his properties, and his bank accounts. The truth about Liam's empire of lies had finally come to light, and the consequences were irreversible. In the weeks that followed, Amelia watched from the sidelines as Liam's world unraveled. He was arrested, his fortune forfeited, and his reputation destroyed. The very people he had once looked down upon were now the ones who brought him to justice. But for Amelia, the victory wasn't just about watching Liam lose everything. It was about securing a future for herself and her family. Her mother, who had worked tirelessly as a nurse, could now retire. Her sisters, Sophie and Olivia, were able to pursue their dreams without the burden of financial struggle. Amelia had achieved the impossible not just for herself, but for everyone who had been overlooked and underestimated. The day of Liam's sentencing, Amelia stood in her new office at one of the largest financial consulting firms in the city. As she gazed out the window, she knew that her life had changed forever. The woman who had once been humiliated and dismissed had now become a powerful force in the financial world. Her success was a testament to the fact that determination, intelligence, and strategic planning could bring down even the most powerful. And as she looked at her reflection in the glass, she knew that the true lesson was not about revenge. It was about proving that where you come from doesn't determine where you can go. As for Liam Everett, he sat in his federal prison cell, stripped of everything he had once held dear, and realized the true cost of underestimating someone based on their social status. And so, the story of Amelia Dawson, a cleaning lady who brought down a millionaire, became a symbol of justice and the power of intelligence over arrogance. Her journey not only changed her life but inspired a generation of people who had been overlooked, showing them that no matter their background, their competence and determination could take them further than the prejudices of others ever could.